All right, so what we're going to do now is look at our practice file, and we're going to work on the slides one by one. We'll start with slide 1.2. Some of these beginner slides are just next button, so we're not going to do anything with that. So let's go ahead and look at our first slide here, and that's where we want to kind of create the personalized experience. So we're going to add a name, we're going to select an avatar, and then we're going to be able to use those values, so the name value and the avatar that I selected, and use that throughout the course. So again, these are pretty simple, but again, if you're just getting started, one, it's a good way to learn variables. The other thing is whatever you want to do in e-learning and you want to gamify it, whatever level of complexity you want to use, you're still always working off of variables. So the variables are foundational. So these things, while they're basic, are still the foundational techniques for working with variables. So we're going to add a name variable here by adding your name, and then we're going to have an avatar. And I'll show a few production tips, and I'll actually just record this live and kind of walk through the troubleshooting, because sometimes I forget to do things. So we'll see how all that plays out and some of the tips that we have to try and think through the slide. All right, so first thing, let's go ahead and add a name. I'm going to insert, do a name entry, so data entry here, and just drag it here. Now when you create a data entry, Storyline by default is going to create a text entry variable, and you can see it's added here. Now I like to title these, so I might say, you know, this right here might be the add name, just so I know what that was. Now for the text entry, I don't want to take the default value, so I'm going to open that up, and I'm going to go to text entry and just rename it. Let's just name it name, so we know what it is, and there's no value to it. Okay, so we've got that. Now I need to be able to see that, so I don't know if it's changing or not. Now you can add a reference. We're going to actually have to display it anyway, so we'll add the reference here. So I'm going to click in this text box, and the way you add a reference is just go to Insert, Reference, and you'll see the variable, and you select that one, and you can see it's just basically %, name, %, or name of variable. So we're going to make this left justified, and let's go ahead and add the name reference in here as well. So Insert, Reference, Name, and I'm going to pull this in, and I'm going to highlight this and make it a different color. All right, just so we can see it. Okay, so we have a reference to the variable, so we can save this. Always a good tip to save while you're working. And let's go ahead and preview this. So what should happen here is, as I add my name and I click away, or it loses focus. So it's in focus when I'm in the box, but when I click away, I can see the name shows up. Now it's not showing up down here because that text box actually have it set to hidden. So we're going to fix that, or work on that. All right, so we have our text variables working the way we want it to. Now let's add the avatar, and I'll show you a couple of tips here. So we're going to add avatar. Just choose Maria. And now when you look at Maria here, you can see you have your height, weight, not height, weight, your width and height. So we're going to go ahead and crop this up. And I want to crop it up so it's perfectly square, so 96 by 96. So crop it up. Now sometimes it gets a little hard to crop exactly. You can zoom in and makes it easier, but I'm going to hold the Alt key down, and when you hold the Alt key down, it's easier to fine tune. And again, it would be easier to make it square if I was zoomed in or made the image larger. So that's 96 by 96. We'll hit OK. That's what we want. Let's go ahead and insert another character. We're going to do that because this will speed this up. We're going to duplicate this character, so just Control Shift and drag it, and we're going to change the character to the other EMT. So we've got this. Now you can see the guy here is a little bit wider, you know, so the image is a little just a little wider, so we can crop this one in so it's 96 as well. So let's go ahead and select crop, and just, you know, you're going to eyeball it, just take it in a little bit here. And let's see if that's good enough here. All right, I can just do We'll just do one more pixel. It doesn't really matter. Oops. Well, it's not there. Let's change it 96 by 96. Here, let me. This is where zooming in works a lot better. Okay. So I've got the two characters. Now, I'm going to show you how to make them round. Because I made them square, when I add this round effect to them, they're going to be perfect circles. So I'm going to go to select that, go to Format, choose Picture Shape, and choose a oval, and I get a perfect circle. And I'm going to do the same thing here, Picture Shape, Oval, and let's select both of them, and we're going to go ahead and apply a border to that. So we'll just do an outline, and now we've got our avatars. And you can fill them and do other things if you want to. So we're going to go ahead and save this. So we've got our avatar images. We need to have an avatar on the badge. What I'm going to do is two different ways. So on this slide, we're going to do one image with multiple states with the different avatars. And then on the other slide that we do in the other tutorial, we're going to do them as separate images, just so you have different ways you can consider. So what we need to do here is add our placeholder image. Since we did a circle, why don't we go ahead and insert a circle. So I'm just going to insert a shape, and I'm going to choose a round shape, and I can go 96 by 96, right? Really doesn't even matter, but we'll 96 by 96, and we'll set that up here. Let's make the default kind of a light gray. Okay, so we got gray here. This is our avatar, so we're going to call this our badge avatar. And what we want to do now is have different states. So this is our normal state. So we're going to come in here. Let's add a new state. And add a new state here. And let's call this one Maria. And we'll put the Maria image in there. And we'll create another one. We'll call that John. And we'll put the John image in there. All right. And let's go back here. Make sure we title these. So this is Maria. It's always good to title when you're working. And this is John. And let's go ahead and I'm going to copy and paste these. Let's save this so we don't lose anything. And I'm going to copy and paste these, which I did. So and the reason I copied both of them is it's just going to be easier. I don't have to go in and out. So let's select this shape here. Go to states. We're going to go to Maria. And let's paste Maria. Oops, I guess I didn't. I copied the trigger. So let's go ahead and do this here. I'm going to copy and paste. Control C. Let's come here. Let's go into Maria. I don't know why that's in there. We're going to go Control V. And I'm going to do Control X to take him off. I'm going to take her and just line her up. Hit John, Control V, and move him up. So that just saved me a couple steps doing that. Okay, let's go ahead and hit Done. And we're going to save this. So now we've got a normal state, we've got a Maria, and we've got a John state. Okay, so what we want to do is create an avatar for these characters. Now, we're using characters, but let's say you were doing a sales training, you had multiple products, so you can select a product and then kind of personalize the experience through the product. So you could do the same thing, you can have 20 different products and you're selecting one, and then what you load up is based on what you selected. But you're going to have one variable, that would be product. In this case, we have one variable called avatar, and that variable can either be Maria or John. So let's go ahead and create the variable. So we're going to add a variable here. We're going to call it avatar. And we'll make it text-based. And it has no value right now. So let's go ahead and do something. We need to set a trigger to change the value of avatar to whichever character we have. And we're going to use that value throughout. So when I go to slide 1.3, I'm going to know what avatar is equal, and that's how I'm going to know which character to display. So let's go ahead and do a trigger. What do I want to do? I want to adjust variable avatar, and I want to make it the value of Maria when the user clicks on Maria. Hit OK. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it, and we're going to set. Well, actually, let me undo that. So I'm going to copy this, and if you select this one, it's the same trigger. So I'm going to paste it, and I just have to set this one to John. All right. So what should happen is the avatar is being set when I click, but I don't see it yet. So I need to put a reference in there. So I just need to type in %, the name of the variable %. I already have one here, I believe. So this is called avatar. So let's go ahead and preview this first to make sure that it's working. So I always want to make sure so we can see the variables are changing. So we know, okay, that part's working. Now, if nothing else is working, then I know it's something else. So I don't need to worry about the variable. So the variable is actually changing. So let's go ahead and add a trigger. Or let me save this first. So let's go ahead and add a trigger. And what I want to do is I want to change the state of this object based on the value of this variable. So let's go ahead and add a trigger. We would change the state of our badge avatar to Maria when variable changes, and which variable? Avatar. And we'll do the condition that Maria avatar is equal to the value of Maria. Okay, and let's go ahead and copy this and paste it. And we want to change the avatar to John when it's equal to the value of John. All right, so let's save this. So what should happen is I type in my text, I see my name, click on one of these, avatar changes, and that should then trigger a change in there. So let's go ahead and see what we have. Add my name, Tom, choose my avatar, everything's working. John, avatar, you can see it's working, right? That's probably Tom John's not a good name, but we'll just say Sam. Let's see here, Sam, it's working, and we can see the avatar is changing. So that's working. Now what we want to do is, since this is complete, we want to start with this disable, so we'll disable the next button. And we want to enable the next button, and we also want to show our congratulations text. So let's figure out what we want to do. First thing is, let's look at our text here. And our text is hidden by default, so I set it to hidden. So we want to show that. And when do we want to show that? We want to show that when these two variables are changed, or a text variable. It really doesn't matter. If you look at the source file, the way we did that is what's the name of that text here? That's the text to congratulate. If you look at the source file, what we did was we changed the state of text congratulate to normal when avatar changes, and then if avatar is not equal to blank and name is not equal to blank. We also changed the next button based on that too, and we changed the next button when this text is changed. So we've got to do it twice with the next button, which you'll see here. So let's just go ahead and we're going to change this to normal. So let's add a trigger, change the state of congratulate right here to normal, and we can say when, and we can say when variable changes, and we'll just say avatar on the condition that variable avatar is not equal to blank, right? And you can also do the same thing for this one here for the name. So we're going to add another condition, and variable name is not equal to blank. So that essentially they both have to have something in them to work, right? So if we preview this slide, this is hidden. We're going to add something. So this is no longer blank, and this is no longer blank, and it shows up. Now when I come back, I'm going to have to reevaluate that. So we'll look at that when we get to that. But last thing we want to do is let's look at the next button. So we're going to change the state of the next button to hidden. Now you could say hidden or disabled. I don't like using hidden because if you use hidden, what happens is you kind of get this cul-de-sac effect because you're just going to see the previous button. So you get to the slide and it looks like you can only back out of it. If you use disabled, then the slide is going to be grayed. The next button is going to be grayed out. So you can see it, but you can see that it doesn't work, which implies that there's got to be something to make it work, which means I've got to interact with my screen. So we're going to go ahead and put it to disabled. So we're going to change the state of the next button to disabled on what condition? Or hold on a second. We're going to change the state of next button to disabled when the slide of that timeline starts of the slide. So hit OK, and we preview this. And we have our text. Oops, why is this not? Did I not do that right? Change the state of next button. Okay, hold on. I chose the text. This is why it's always good. So change the state of the next button to disable when the timeline starts. I had clicked on the text, so we're going to make sure that text is not going to appear, right? So we're going to make sure that the personalize is available. That's our slide. So when the timeline of the slide starts, it should work. Okay. That's why I said I'm not editing this. We're going to go through it. Okay. So Tom, select the avatar. Everything works. And that works. But this is not changing. Oh, we haven't set that yet. But it is changing to disabled, which is what we were doing, right? So we're changing it to disabled. All right. So let's go ahead. And when do we want it to be enabled, right? So we want to create a trigger. This is where we talk through it, right? Change the state of the next button. And when do we want to change the state of the next button? We're going to change the state of the next button when these variable changes, or we can say when this right here is normal because it's hidden. So if this is normal, then we can engage that. So we're going to change the state of the next button to normal, and we'll just say when the state of, that's congrats, right, is normal. And again, there's a lot of ways to do these things with Storyline, but I'm just going to show you a few different ways on the slides, and each slide's going to be a little bit different. So I'm going to add my name, check my avatar, and then we can see this is enabled. So let's go ahead and replay it. It's disabled, add a value, select avatar, it works, select avatar, the other one works, and this is working. All right, so that's good for this slide. And then in the next tutorial, what we're going to do is looking at how to do that menu slide and some of the nuances there.